And with that smooth and bloody transition, we are live. Finally, we're doing this after, a little bit of mishap. It's fine. We're live today, everyone. Hi for a special live stream, a live interview with Romy and Frank from Unsigned Double, and we're going to talk about their pretty awesome game. It's called Freya and the False Prophecy. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
I have no idea why I said hi, everyone, like I'm a teacher. Hello. So, just, let's go right in. Talk about yourselves. Just tell me. Tell me about the studio, tell me about your project. I want to know everything. And if anyone wants to ask questions, please feel free to do that in the chat. I'm just going to play. I'm going to enjoy my game. It's fine.
Okay. Romy, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Romy. I'm the art director of Unsigned Double. And so most of the drawings and the illustrations and the concept sort of came from me. We're a small studio based in Cape Town, and this is our first big, major, ambitious project that we're working on, called Freya and the False Prophecy. Frank, do you want to introduce yourself? What do you do?
Yes, I'm Frank. I'm actually Romy's older brother. VFX artist by day.
Aww.
Yeah, family affair.
Yeah, and well, basically in March of this year, Romy and Lasse had already started making this game, and I saw it and was very much inspired, and I jumped in as the VFX artist and also helping on some procedural assets. And yeah, that was what 8 months ago. We just launched our Kickstarter campaign 2 weeks ago. It's been going well. That sort of brings us to where we are now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's delve deep into the important stuff here. So Romy, you and Lasse were working on something, and then your older brother, is Frank your older brother?
Yes.
Of course he is. So okay, so what do we have here? We have a little sister, and the big brother comes in and says, "Oh, you have a project? I'm in." It's like, let me help.
That's exactly what happened.
So
but I mean,
really, so he just like
look at the project, hey? It's so beautiful.
Okay, so tell me about the project. It's Freya and the False Prophecy. Can you say anything about the False Prophecy? What's the False Prophecy? It's like something like apocalyptic.
Yeah, so the false prophecy part is kind of like the crux of the story that we're keeping at bay for now. What I can say is that basically Freya, who's the Shieldmaiden, she's off on a raid, and something happens during this raid, and it involves her and the gods and their connection to the mortals on Midgard. And this event kind of sets off this this thing that happens sets off this chain of events that turns her world upside down and forces her on this journey through the 9 realms of Yggdrasil in search of answers to what happened. But I don't want to spoil any of the story, if that's okay with you guys.
That's fine. So I'm just gonna add my input. It's basically she's a badass, right?
Yeah.
Freya's a badass, and the gods became
she's got some
jealous.
Too, though.
Well, she's a Shieldmaiden, right? So that's based on factual data, right? They were Shieldmaidens. They were pretty kick-ass women, right? Warriors.
Yeah.
So why did you choose a Shieldmaiden? Is it like that very important for the story? That she's kind of like a warrior, but she's not the conventional Viking warrior?
Yeah, we did want to have a female heroine. I mean, that wasn't the whole reason we're making the game or anything, but we did want to show like a strong female hero in our story. We thought it would be interesting, and one of the reasons we went with Norse mythology and her being a shield maiden is the developer is from Denmark, Lasse. And me and him spent quite a lot of time in Denmark and Norway, and we sort of fell in love with the history and the landscapes, and Norse mythology is absolutely fascinating. We just loved it, and that's sort of where the story evolved from.
So, it's your love for Norse mythology that kind of started the project, or did you have something else in mind, and then the mythos, the Norse mythos came in, as the setting?
Tell them about the Viking beard game.
Yeah, so many years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, me and Lass actually tried to make another game. It was like a short comedy game, nothing like Freya at all, but it was about this Viking who loses his beard and he has to go on a quest to find his beard. And then he realizes that he didn't really need the beard to begin with, like that it was okay to be a Viking and not have a beard. And it was going to be a silly game, and it never came to fruition. But then when we decided, no, we really want to try and make another game again, and we want to push and do it properly, I guess the Viking theme just sort of stuck. Yeah, but it changed.
First of all, I really want to play that game of the Viking that doesn't have a beard, because that sounds adorable. It really sounds adorable. Really, it really does. I mean.
For a while, we were calling it Beard the Face as its stand-in name.
Okay, so one question that because I thought it was a little bit unconventional, let's say. Why is she not blonde? I mean, come on, Vikings blonde, right? Like, that tall, dark, and, well, actually blonde. Why is she a redhead? And this, coming from an actual redhead. Myself, I mean.
Well, I'm also a bit of a redhead, so I guess maybe we all put a little bit of ourselves in our art. I don't know.
No, it looks great. I just, it's interesting because, most people go for, but they're blonde. They're all blonde and tall and, like, super tall and strong. It's cool that she's a redhead.
I think it definitely sort of works with the color aesthetic of the game, the redhead. It's like, it's very striking as a visual impact,
Yeah, and I played around with a lot of different colors for her. When I first drew her, there were many, many versions. And one of the reasons we settled on these colors was because she was quite easy to spot. Even in amongst a busy background environment, she's always pretty easy to see with the black and the white and the orange hair. And that was really important to us. We didn't want her to get lost while you're trying to, like, make jumps and hit things.
Yeah, because that's quite a problem. The visual side. If you battle something or hordes, there are multiple enemies on screen, you can't tell your character apart. And when the position is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I like the design. It's just the first thought would be like why not blonde? But that's fine. Do you want to address something that sounds a little bit mean? I think so.
That's cool.
Philly Panton, I think that's a little bit mean. I wouldn't say it because it says gameplay looks really generic. Well, first of all, it's a very, very, very early build. Do you want to address that critique?
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, look, yeah, totally. You're right there. The first thing I would say is this is not the finished game. This is pre-alpha, sort of built as a prototype to show off our vision of the game. It's still got another 2 years at least in development. And so, I mean, what you're seeing is not what we imagine the final thing will be, but it is, we feel, a good enough taste, It gives you an idea of where we're going, the aesthetic we're building, the style of gameplay, the style of mechanics. I mean, obviously it's all going to be fine-tuned and put through sort of the whole testing gamut, but yeah, look, he's welcome to his opinion for sure.
It is also in a very small demo. Yeah. It's hard to throw a lot of controls and a lot of skills at the player. The whole demo is only 15 minutes, so we did struggle a bit with how many skills to show people and how many war cries we should give them. so that they still had time to learn and they didn't feel like they were getting a lot of commands and a lot of instructions in a short space.
It's very much a balancing act. You don't want to sort of hold their hand through the whole thing, but you also don't want to sort of like suddenly overwhelm them. It's live and learn. Hey, game design.
Yeah, I don't know. I think first of all, it's impressive that you have a demo at this period of development, because it's, you said the game is quite far off from release. So that alone is impressive, that you have something playable. Most projects would not be playable at this point.
That actually came about, interestingly enough. We were originally looking at doing just a trailer, and then there was a game show, and we sort of banded together, and we were like, okay, no, we're going to make a demo for this, and then we kept improving the demo and getting feedback, and it's been this great sort of cycle of, put something together, get it out there, get people's opinions, and then sort of adapt it and work on it, and it's been very rewarding in that manner of working and building something.
Yeah, the feedback we've gotten just from having the demo available online has been really invaluable, and I think it's really going to help us a lot going forward when we start, obviously working on the main game.
So when you were planning the Kickstarter, go ahead.
I just see my friend Dylan's joined the chat here. He was one of the main play testers of this game. He's like, I must say hi to Dylan and thank you so much for his input into it. It was really fantastic.
Hey Dylan.
Shout out to Dylan. That's something like that. That's what Rogan would say. Shout out to Dylan. Sorry, it's just Joe Rogan, by the way. That's the idea. Yeah. So sorry, I'm a fan. Let's say, if I don't like the word fan, but let's say. So tell me about this. You having the demo. Was this something that you made it a priority to have a demo out when you launch the Kickstarter too? Was that like a very important thing in your plan?
What happened was there was this indie games festival, Playtopia, that happened on the 1st of December, and it was pretty much the first of its kind. Like Cape Town had never seen an indie games festival before, so we were making this game and concentrating on the trailer at that time, and then we found out about this festival, and we were like, okay, no, we actually have to enter this thing. So then we decided, okay, cool, we're going to make a demo for it, and we're going to launch our Kickstarter on the exact same day as the festival. and so, I mean, we got it all done, but it was crazy. Hey, it was really crazy.
Yeah, those 2 days before were really intense.
So how was the festival? That's interesting. Was that the first time you? Well, that's the first time you showed the game, right?
Yes, first public appearance of it. It was good. It was really great to be able to. I mean, because at that point, before that, it had been almost entirely internal. We had Dylan testing, so that was invaluable. But we didn't really have a broad spectrum of people who played the game, and this festival let us, stand back and actually watch how other people play the game, get a range of responses, and see what works, what doesn't. Because when you're making something, you're stuck in a tunnel, and that really helped.
Yeah, so that was the first piece of feedback first. So that must have been intense. Right just before the Kickstarter, you show it to the world.
Also, it's very weird watching someone from a distance play your game and not telling them that you're the person that made it, and just watching them not play it the way that you intended them to play it. It was really interesting. We learned a lot.
Yeah, that's always happens. Like, no, you're not supposed to do that. It's like, oh, never mind.
There was this annoying thing where I think it's a human instinct to want to go up when you're playing games, and everyone always goes up instead of going down into the cave first. And I think we've sort of rectified it now. That's why we added that gate at the end, so that you had to get all 3 stones before you could go through the gate to fight the boss, because everyone was missing that lightning war cry. And Playtopia definitely had helped us figure that out, because everyone I watched play, they'd just go up every time.
So let's talk about maybe the game. Well, the story. Let's go about the gameplay since we're talking about gameplay now. So there's definitely combat in the game, but you say that it's in the description that it's Metroidvania. So how is that gonna play out? Are you gonna? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, sort of Metroidvania and platformer is kind of we're very much looking at the way sort of something like Ori and the Blind Forest embodies both of those genres.
So is there going to be a lot of back and forth, like in
that's
others of the
that
genre?
is something like Hollow Knight. Yeah, that still needs to kind of be determined whether we go with like linear levels, obviously with some sort of back and forth within those levels, or a more sort of central world that sort of branches out, like your classic Metroidvania. We may go either way at this point. It's kind of undecided. I mean, I like the idea of the tree Yggdrasil being sort of the central hub, and you can kind of move between the different realms, and there is some back and forth there. But at the same time, we don't want. I mean, we've played games where we get frustrated with too much back and forth, so I think it's got to be a balancing act.
Yeah.
Okay,
Also, with the game being like the story is going to be fairly linear, so we also need to figure out how to balance the back and forth of the gameplay with the story still having, like a linear storyline.
So
Yeah.
that linear storyline, does that mean that there's going to be only one ending, or are you thinking of branching out a little bit?
Undecided.
If there's anything I mean, you can say that you have, she dies or she lives happily ever after. That's, those are technical choices,
Both might happen. Hey, there is sort of the underworld and Valhalla and various places she might end up.
Right.
But yeah, at this point, no spoilers. Hey.
Okay, that's fair. So tell me a little bit about well, if you can, more about Freya. How important is she to the world that you are in? Are you just another warrior? Are you someone who's already established in the world?
Romy, do you want to take this away?
So established probably isn't the right word. She's not already established when the story starts, but she's an integral part of the story. She's not just like an unknown to the other characters that she meets. Yeah, she does something. I don't want to give away what she does, but she does something and sort of unknowingly sets off this chain reaction, and it involves the gods and their idea of her and this prophecy, and she figures out sort of how she's involved in the story along with you. So she finds stuff out at the same time as you do. She doesn't know exactly what's happening, but she is an important part of the story, and a lot of the characters that she meets know her or they know of her. She's definitely not just another random character.
I mean, I also think what's
She's not
important.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to add on that. What's important to point out as well is that the gods are not sort of necessarily good or evil. They've got their own sort of motives for things. And
yeah, definitely. That's something that I really love about Norse mythology, is that the gods are not black and white. Like, they're not good or evil. It's a lot like humans, I guess. They have bad points and good points, and a lot of them aren't great. They've got egos, and they're a bit selfish, which is also interesting. They definitely not all.
I thought that, because you mentioned that in the Kickstarter page, and I was, that maybe we're going off a tangent a little bit, but a lot of earlier, let's say, religions or mythologies, maybe that's a better word, have these types of gods. First of all, they have many gods, not one god, right? Or it's a compendium of gods, and they're always very complex. Whereas later, let's say Abrahamic religions have like one center figure who's like, oh, this guy is the greatest guy ever, and this guy is the worst guy ever, like, you know, God and the devil, kind of like that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating how the old things are more, the old gods, let's say, are more relatable to humans than the newer ones are, and that's
Absolutely.
quite. I don't know if that was a good thing, but you know.
Well, it definitely makes for more interesting stories. I think,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you know.
There's in Norse mythology. I think there's only one god that is actually considered to be like good and pure and just.
It's about Balder.
All that, it's Balder. He gets killed.
He gets killed.
Obviously.
It's like a
Yeah.
random act of sort of Loki's. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, they're all very multifaceted. Interesting.
If anyone is interested in Norse mythology, I would definitely recommend Neil Gaiman's book, Norse Mythology. It's a great sort of introduction to it.
So, you choosing that, how much interaction will we have to the actual gods in Norse mythology? Will there be a constant thing? Will you, I don't know, form weird relationships? Will they ask you, yeah, do this for me in order for me to help you? What's your relationship to the gods? How they respond to you?
Yeah, there is an element of that, of them, like some of them will toy with you and I guess possibly manipulate you. I don't want to give away too much of the storyline, but you do chat to them. Like Freya is definitely going to meet them and have conversations with them, and they influence the story. Yeah.
And are they going to be something that a constant element? Like, will you always be reminded, oh, there are gods, you know, looking from somewhere, and you know all your actions are going to be judged by them? Is it going to be something like that?
They're central in that way completely.
Okay, that's cool, because you know, being so many gods, right? I was thinking, well, I'm sure whatever Freya does, she won't be able to please them all. So it would be nice to have, you know, gods that are reticent to help her, or they don't like her, or they, you know, do something to stop her. So that would be, you know, something nice as an extra element in the relationship. You know, they won't all like you.
No, they
No, definitely not.
complex characters with their own sort of agendas at play.
Okay, tell me about the other characters. What other characters will you meet? The actual humans who you probably can kill, but you probably won't.
One of them you actually meet in the demo. He's gonna be a recurring character in the game. Stigander, that guy who's killed that troll. Him and Freya will form some sort of relationship, and you do see him at multiple times in the game. He's got a bit of an ego. He thinks he's a great warrior, and he is a great warrior, but he also has his flaws and his fears. And one of the other characters that we're planning on introducing that's going to have a big impact on like the audio is a bard who's going to at some points, hopefully this does depend on our audio obviously, but we really love the idea of having a bard that sings some of Freya's story every now and again when you see her. Like she can tell some of what you've done already in the game, but in a song form. We thought that would be really awesome.
Do you want to mention our recent reward?
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, we just announced a new reward on Kickstarter where we can turn you into a character on the game. So that's exciting.
A character that Freya's gonna murder in a brutal fashion.
No. I don't know. It depends what you want, I guess. We're going to work with the backer. It's limited so that we have time to like actually integrate them into the story and give each of those characters care and attention. And we'll work with the person and integrate some of their personality into the character. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Obviously, I can't talk about what they're going to be like because that depends on what the backer wants. Yeah.
Yeah, we opened three of those, and I think one of them's already been taken. So there's still 2 more available. If anyone's interested in being an NPC in our game.
Yeah, and probably say something wrong and, you know, get a snarky comment from Freya. That's, you know, if you want that, you know what, I don't know what it is, but the way she looks like she's the type of character who doesn't take any crap from anyone. You know, like that, like strong and certain of her powers, like, you know, and she doesn't look like, oh yeah. I'm not just gonna talk about that with you, or, you know, you're chillax, just, dude, stay away. You know, I can handle myself. I think she's that type of character, at least to me, that she seems like that. Like she can take on whatever she wants. Yeah, it's
I'm very happy that's how she. Vibe you got.
Yeah, I think that's
when
designing her.
Well, she's, you know, not only she's a warrior, but the way she talks to the character she beats, and to the boss, right? To the witch. She's like, yeah, she's fairly confident. She knows what she wants, and she goes about her business. She doesn't go into unnecessary fights, right? Because she just wants to go and reach a city. That's fine. You know, that's normal. And I really like that conversation with the boss at the end. It's like, yeah, just let me pass, and I'll be on my way. You know, we don't need to fight. You know, that's she can fight, but she doesn't.
I love the conversation she has with Stiganda here, where he's trying to tell her that, like, she shouldn't go fight Angerboda because she's, you know, a big scary witch and it's going to be dark and scary. And Freya's just like, you know what, like, I can deal with it. It's fine. Thanks for warning me, but I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. I like that confidence. Anyway, it's a good thing, because sometimes there are characters in games that feel weak in how they're designed, and you're supposed to save the world with them, and it's like, no, this isn't the type of character that would go on and become a hero, because not everyone becomes a hero that, you know, saves humanity, or, you know, whatever it is, right? And you know, there are very few people in the world who are, you know, of that level. So,
and at the same time, we don't want her to be completely invincible. I mean, that's the main reason why we start sort of hurt and bleeding, and she's just had this battle. So I mean,
no, I was just gonna say, like, showing that a character's brave also means showing that they can sort of get a bit messed up and hurt and be scared, but they still carry on with their journey. Like, that's true bravery, right? When you're scared and hurt, but you still decide to do the right thing, instead of someone that's just always tough and everything's easy for them, because then they're not really being brave.
If you're always tough, you're just crazy, and you crave that adrenaline, right? You're not thinking of, you know, you're just like, oh, violence, cool, you know. It's like, oh, that's great.
Which is
there are people like that.
I mean, it's quite interesting if you look at sort of, I don't know, this kind of superhero culture, and, you know, that's all. Often these heroes are like completely invincible, like super crazy strong. To have them sort of be a bit more human I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, she's human, right? So she's supposed to be. I'm sure there'll be other characters in Freya and the False Prophecy that, because of their power, like the gods, for example, I could imagine them being cocky, very confident, look down on her, right? But she really can't really afford that, because she is a human, right? So that comes with vulnerabilities, which are normal, but, you know, you overcome them. So now tell me, 'cause since we're in this state in the spirit world a little bit, and I kind of like the visuals, tell me about the visual style, the inspiration, how everything is made, because it's hand drawn. So how does that work? And how long does that take?
So initially it took a long time. Coming up with the style took a long time. Me and Lasse, we spent months just sort of looking at reference, and I was drawing lots of drawings, and some of them looked terrible and some of them looked okay. And then we sort of settled on this like hand-drawn, slightly painterly style with like, sort of, there's some large areas of flat color. And now it's much quicker to draw all the assets, which was also a very important factor for us, because if every element that you draw takes a really long time, then obviously the game's going to take ages to make, because everything has to get drawn. So we needed to find a balance between having something that looked awesome, but it didn't take ages for us to make everything. And I think we've struck a nice balance now. I mean, in the demo now, when I look at it, there's still a lot of stuff I want to like go in and embellish and work on. And
Found the bug there.
oh no, there's a bug.
Yeah, it's fine. It's what I do. Bugs like me, so it's fine. That's fine.
Easy one.
Yeah, he's just confused. he's just confused. He's like King Kong, just looking at the beautiful woman, and he can't move.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead, Romy. Continue. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I was going to just add to that. We've got a flow of tools now that works well. How sort of things feed into other things. So you got like sort of Photoshop feeding into Fur 2D, feeding into Unity, and then I'll take some of Romy's stuff, and I've worked through Houdini, and we've making like sort of, I won't say hero assets, but you'll have like procedural secondary assets as sort of set decorations. So things like stalactite rocks and trees and things.
And like the waypoint stones, stuff like that was actually made in Houdini. Yeah, the art style took a while to land on. I mean, if I showed you the first couple drawings of Freya, you probably wouldn't even recognize her. But
she's more cartoony. Yeah. Like what was the initial?
Well, she just looked very different. All the color palette was completely different, and so now what I've been doing is I've got like a very limited color palette, and I try to limit myself to like 5 or 6 different Photoshop brushes, which help me keep everything consistent, because it's a bit hard sometimes. You draw one asset months apart from drawing another thing, and suddenly you look back and you're like, oh gosh, I have to redo all that stuff. So having those limitations on the art style has helped me a lot, like limiting the colors and limiting the brushes that I use to draw with. That's really helped. So
at the end of 2019, can we expect you to redo Freya completely, right? That's pretty much what you're saying?
No, she's done. She's done now.
Okay, so tell me about the other worlds. Like, what are you thinking about the actual design and drawing the other worlds? How different are they going to be, and what are you going to change? Is there going to be like color patterns, or what's the plan there?
I mean, if you look at our trailer, we do have a few examples of some of the other worlds. We've got sort of Valheim, the land of flame and fire, and we've got Alfheim, which is the elven sort of castle fantasy land. But yeah, that's the great thing about the mythology is that the worlds themselves are so distinct and so well described. You've got the underworld, you've got the land of fire, you've got the land of fog and ice. And so, yeah, I mean, you can expect them to be in the same art style.
Yeah, but different color palettes, different backgrounds. They will all have their own vibe, but we're going to try and keep them sort of unified,
Okay, so it's going to be a consistent look. It's just like you'll be able to say that, to tell, oh, this is Freya. Like if you see one world.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, looking at it and playing, I was thinking, preparing for the interview, because people actually do that. Well, I do that. I was thinking, no, but it's. I was thinking of the style, and I was trying to kind of, because there was something familiar about it, and I was thinking, why does this look? I don't know, something clicked, and I was thinking, you know what? It kind of looks like some of the fairy tale books, like from my childhood.
Mind, definitely fairy tale. That's. But like almost.
I don't know if you went for that. I just that was my view.
Not sort of modern Disney or whatever. Like not sort of modern Disney. Like the old fairy tale before that. That's definitely something that resonates with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm very glad that you got that vibe.
Well, when I say old fairy tales, like you should imagine fairy tale books from communist Romania from the 80s. So kind of that. Yeah, we definitely didn't get Disney over here when I was very young. So yeah, I don't have that experience, so it's fine.
To see those, I think that would be a fantastic reference to look at. The old Romanian fairy tale books.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's sure. It's
I definitely
if everything was, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say.
Sorry, go ahead.
Going into it, I definitely didn't want to like cartoonize everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to say this. In that, a lot of cartoons, like the characters all have big heads and big eyes, and they look quite cute. I did not want to go for that because the story is quite dark. So even though everything is colorful and hand drawn and illustrated, I wanted it to still feel like a dark, kind of realistic story.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it does have
the
lack
of outlines. So it's another thing that sort of speaks to that not being sort of too modern cartoonish, but more like old fairy tale, I guess.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it works because it is a fairy tale, right? The story, her story. It could be, if you take her story, it could be like, this actually was in an old book we found in.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, when fairy tales were a bit scary and not just for children.
Well, the Norse mythology, right? All those stories, I bet they were told to children around the campfire. So back then, they didn't make them safe. Yeah, I mean, it was about learning the history, maybe learning some fables and stuff. So they didn't pull any punches when it comes to the kid is gonna hear about Thor killing, I don't know, a beast with one hit. It's fine,
Yeah, and everyone's having
Peppa
monster
Pig.
babies and yeah.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, monster babies. That's true.
Lots of drinking and fighting and
Yeah.
Well, it was part of the culture, right? Like you wouldn't want, it's so weird that if you look back, all of these stories and mythology and everything, those were so part of the culture, and they weren't like, if I watch Peppa Pig now, I wouldn't learn anything about the culture where it was formed. Pretty much, almost anything. At least, okay, I would learn that people don't know how to draw that great. Anyway, but that's another thing. But with mythologies, with these old stories, and I would say Greek mythology too. It's like, oh, you knew how these people lived actually back then. It wasn't, it wasn't sugar coated. There was
it tells
death
you a lot
and
about
killing.
their ideals and what they thought about life. Definitely.
One second, let's look a quick. Well, 1 second, let's have a quick look on the chat. I like the trend of Nordic themed games that have been coming out lately, and very happy that God of War is Game of the Year. Nice. I would not have voted for that.
Cool.
We love Norse mythology too. We really hope you to show some lesser known concepts and some characters that haven't been hijacked by Marvel yet. Okay, like what?
I think that's our developer writing that.
Okay, can you give a few examples, or one example, one character that it's from mythology, he's lesser known or she's lesser known, and you plan to have.
I know the one you're fighting right game. Now, Angrboda, who's definitely she's super interesting. She was Loki's mistress and birthed Fenrir, which is the wolf that sort of like comes at Ragnarok to sort of devour the world. And then also sort of sires Skull and Hearty, the two wolves that chase the sun and moon. And she's this sort of giantess witch.
Yeah, wise woman. She's the sort of countess of the Ironwood. And she's a clan leader. And some people claim that she was also a werewolf shapeshifter. She's a very sort of powerful, fierce mother, apparently.
And also, I mean, her other daughter, Hull, is sort of heads up, name escapes me now. what's the underworld?
Hell. Well, Helheim.
Helheim, yeah.
Hell.
So her other daughter, Hull, is sort of like in charge of the underworld. I mean, it's very interesting how all these characters have these different relationships, and Yeah, it's the whole pantheon of gods and characters, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, that's, there's a lot of source material, right? So,
There's
some
so
people
much.
focus on very
There's a
little.
ridiculous amount.
Hmm.
I mean,
Okay, so how
even
much? How
aside.
much? Yeah.
Oh no, I
Sorry,
was
go
just gonna
ahead.
say, even aside from the mythologies, even in like actual Norse history, like of the actual Vikings, there's so much material to work from. Like the warrior shamans that would apparently like try to become bears or wolves and would run into battle naked and like take lots of um, mushrooms and drink a lot and apparently go into like crazy battle furies and then they got outlawed. Is so much interesting history there. Just it's a lot of inspiration.
So, is that ongoing? The research for creating the world of Freya and the False Prophecy, or do you have it like, yeah, we read a billion
No,
books already and we're good?
obviously we have done a lot of research up to this point, but it is definitely ongoing,
Hmm. Okay,
and
so
there's
it's
stuff to get through.
Yeah, there's always more stuff to read with the internet, loads of information out there.
yeah, that is true, and that's one of the advantages of the internet right now, because you can actually find, oh, you know what, it's not only Thor that existed and he wasn't actually, he didn't look like Chris Hemsworth.
No,
No.
no, and apparently it was actually really dumb.
Really? I didn't know that. Really,
Yeah,
he wasn't very. Yeah.
he's known as being like quite gullible and at times a bit
Ah.
stupid, but
Which
very brave and very strong and very powerful.
he gets paired with Loki, who's like the ultimate manipulator. So like,
Yeah,
Right.
so they always riff off each other. Loki's always convincing Thor to do something that he shouldn't be doing.
Okay, that's right. So for future references, if for future Marvel movies, Loki's cooler. That's basically what that means.
Yeah, also
I mean,
Odin's
Thor
also
is
not
handsome,
such a
but
great
yeah,
guy. I mean, in Marvel,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of, yeah, he's actually in Norse mythology, he's not such a great
Mhm.
guy.
Oh, jeez, and they got Anthony Hopkins too. Is like, oh, really? Oh my god. I mean, he's a tremendous actor. Didn't really
yeah,
feel it. It's like it in terms of the actual character, and I didn't feel the connection there. He's a great actor, but as
have
no,
you,
maybe not.
have you been watching what's it American Gods? It's got Thingy is
No, I
plays
didn't
Odin.
see that. No.
Yeah, he's it's what's his name? Ian McShane plays Odin. Really, I think he makes a good Odin.
Yeah, he makes a
Hmm,
great Odin.
okay. Well, at least we have, well, one good. So, oh, well, it's Marvel. It's supposed to be like the lowest common denominator. So, this good, this bad, bad fights, good fights bad. Good wins. At the end. And we
Pretty
we
much.
we throw in some jokes around. So let's talk a little bit about Freya as a character and what she can do and what she'll be able to do. So she's a warrior, Shieldmaiden. Tell me about her arsenal. If we're gonna have anything that we can change in that regard, tell me about her powers, about her abilities, the skill tree.
Okay, so I mean, right now we've got the sort of the basic combat platforming arsenal. You've got your attack, your power attack, your shield, your roll, your jump, your double jump. So I mean that's kind of like standard fare for this kind of the style of game, the genre. Um, then on top of that, we're looking at a system there where well, for the demo we've got three of them with these war cries. So she gets a lightning war cry, she gets a heal war cry, and she gets a spirit side war cry. As we branch the game further out, we're looking at making these war cries equipable, so you'll be able to choose from a range of different war cries that you collect to equip at any point in time. We're also looking at a progression skill tree, so that you'll be able to, as you level up your character, you can actually move points or experience in the direction that you want to, and that will affect your playstyle. And but yeah, it is early days, and a lot of these things need to be kind of tested and ironed out and see where we go with them.
Yeah, we're busy testing combo attacks at the moment. It's obviously not implemented in the demo, and you can't really see them anyway. But we've started working on combo animations, and we're going to start testing out combo stuff pretty soon.
Okay, and how will combos work? What do they bring? Like, can you combine specific moves together and make your own kind of mix?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to go through some testing and see what feels nice. At the moment, we've just sort of started animating like some extra combo moves and to see how her different attacks can fit in together.
Yeah, so not something like, sort of 2 attacks followed by a power attack and a roll, but like being able to sort of flow into them as opposed to sort of have them be like almost static contained attacks.
Yeah.
Is that something that would be used for, let's say, groups of enemies? Because right now you only fight kind of one enemy at a time, so would that be the use of a combo?
It would be more groups of enemies. I mean, I think we're kind of looking at what Guacamelee does, and then it's also it's very much dependent on enemy types. So, like you say, right now it's kind of enemy encounters are isolated, but we definitely want to look at sort of groups of enemies and that dynamic and how that changes things and what sort of play style works in that context.
Also, we're gonna fight some pack of wolves, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know, I saw the wolf and I was thinking, there has to be a pack of wolves.
That we want to test. Our developer's actually mentioned that a few times. He wants to try and see what like pack mentality AI does with the wolves and...
Yeah, so almost if the wolves could be stronger as a pack, and then once you sort of lose some of them, they become weaker. There are lots of directions this can go, and we are still in the early stages.
One question from Dylan, who's, I think it's a little bit cheeky because I bet he knows more than he tells us. Which character from another indie game would you love to make an appearance in Freya one day, and what would they be doing? Ooh, that's a interesting question. So what special character DLC would you sell for $4.99 when Freya comes out? Basically.
When Freya kind of meets Mario in like some weird cross.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Wait, Mario, not Waluigi?
Oh no, there we go.
I mean, I think the obvious choice, although he's not indie, the obvious choice might be Kratos, being in the same kind of world, although we don't want to mix AAA with indie at this point. I don't know. I'm going blank here, to be honest.
Romy, any characters you'd like to see?
Ori.
Just saying hi to Ori from the Blind Forest.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he's
I just
adorable.
love Ori so much. He's so cute.
I want a plush of him.
Yeah. Or maybe the owl from Ori. Epic battle.
Well, is there anything about owls in Norse mythology? Like, do they have like a significance or anything like that? Because I know what they have in Greek, so...
Yeah, not as much as crows, I guess. Crows and ravens
so
are definitely...
Raven is the classic one,
more there, yeah.
Okay, so when are we getting the pet? What's the stretch goal for Freya's pet crow? Raven, in this case.
We do actually talk about giving her a companion, like, all the time.
Just really?
I really want her to have a pet. Yeah, but there's nothing confirmed yet. That's just me wanting my own pet owl, I guess.
Well, who doesn't want a pet owl? They're adorable.
I know.
Until you actually realize that they're predators, and then they're not as adorable. Well, depends on how you view things, I guess. I mean, to me they're amazing, but some people are like, oh, look at the cute owls. Okay, here's a video on the internet how they hunt. Like, oh, they're not as cute anymore. You ruined owls for me. Like, sorry. That's I don't know. I think they're still awesome, even as vicious predators.
Yeah,
The
they're
Witcher.
amazing.
Oh, Lasse wants the Witcher in here. Like what? The White Wolf himself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Odin is the Raven King. I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah,
pretty
he's
cool.
got.
So tell me a little about. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say he's got 2 ravens who speak in his ears and tell him things.
Huh. That's. I think Odin's crazy. That's if you're talking to crows, I'm pretty sure. I mean, there's very, very, very smart animals. Smart birds, which doesn't say much because birds are not that smart. But sorry, they're not. I have this thing with the. Oh crap! I didn't get that thing. Tell me a little bit about the monsters we're gonna see. So in this demo we see a few types. What else are we gonna see in the full game?
So, something we really want to work on going forward with the enemies is having like more interesting enemies with more interesting concepts. I can mention a couple of them. Some of them actually, the concept art is up on our Twitter if anyone wants to go and have a look. But there are these little ghosts in Scandinavian mythology called Mylings, which are the ghosts of abandoned children that apparently hang out in the woods at night, and they try to jump on people's backs and get them to carry them to cemeteries, and if you don't dig the grave in time, then they'll kill you. So they're definitely going to feature creepy ghost babies.
Yeah, nothing dark about that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and then definitely giants will have a big feature in the story and as enemies. One of our big ideas for giant fights is that the giants are so big you have to fight them on multiple levels and you can't even see their whole body on the screen because they're so big. So like you have to fight just at their feet and then jump up a level, and you can hit their middle body area and then jump up a level, and then you can only reach its head. Stuff like that.
That should be fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of inspiration to
like a longer fight. Mm-hmm.
We're also currently running a bit of a contest on our Discord. We asking any backers if they want to submit ideas for enemies. And that's not that we sort of lazy and don't have any ideas. It's just that we'd like to get the community involved, and we plan on having a vote on the Discord on which enemy concepts the community likes, and putting that forward to include in the game. So if anyone's interested in having their input into the game, we'd love to hear it.
So that's not related to a specific stretch goal, pledge or anything like that? Like anyone can enter?
Anyone who's backed the game is welcome to.
As long as the concept is rooted in Norse mythology.
Yeah, no, we don't want to put anything that's completely.
The more obscure, the better.
Mm-hmm. So we can't have like Shiva No, never mind. Wait, okay, you know what? Okay, so you're gonna finish Freya, it's all gonna go great. After that, can you do something like with Sumerian mythology? Because god damn it, no one makes games with those, and that really pisses me off because they're pretty amazing. The Sumerian Akkadian gods.
I'm not very familiar with them.
That's fine. It's just Marduk, Tiamat. Yes, I know they're all fucking metal bands. They stole it from. It's such a stupid. Yeah, they're all metal bands. I'm not kidding. They're actual metal bands called Tiamat, Marduk, and there are lots of other names, and well, there are lots of gods actually. But it's an untapped mythology. I think it's really been missing. The only game that I know it actually had them.
Sequel to Freya
Titan Quest.
Yeah. I know what I'm reading about once this interview's over.
Yeah, it's like search YouTube. Akkadian mythology. Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar and all that. Anyway, it's an interesting thing. It's just untapped, and as cool as Norse mythology is, come on, let's get some Middle Eastern stuff in, because that was pretty much cradle of civilization at one time.
There's a world
I'm
of
joking.
stories.
Yeah. And then you're gonna go to pre-Columbian stuff, and then it's gonna be crazy. Okay, so Freya, more about her. Something that it wasn't mentioned in regards to the character specifically. So you'll have a skill tree. You'll be able to choose, how you upgrade. Tell me about her stats. Will you be able to see anything like, I don't know, because in this demo she doesn't have stamina specifically, but will she have something like that? Will she have an actual health pool, and you'll be able to increase that through upgrades or maybe through equipment or anything like that?
Well, yes, we're definitely looking at that. I mean, if you look at the UI now, you've got health, you've got rage, which is not implemented. That's the sort of yellow-green one there. And then stamina, and obviously stamina is kind of affected. If you use your shield, it takes stamina. If you use a power attack, it takes stamina. It's something we still need to work on and determine what's the best approach. But we are looking at, increasing those values over time and increasing them based on your choices. Those will be 3 core attributes that affect your playstyle, on top of which will be the Warcry stones, and then the skill tree also. I mean, we're looking at things like speed but I mean we don't want to make it. Well, we'll see in which direction it goes. I mean, I don't think it's going to end up being like a fully flung RPG in that sense. It's going to stick to the sort of Metroidvania platformer vibe, but we do want to have like some sort of adjustment, player. I don't know what's like progression within that.
Will, since you mentioned Metroidvania, will the presence of certain war cries, for example, be required to reach new areas and such? Sorry?
I hear what you're saying. I mean, that's like sort of the classic thing in Castlevania and Hollow Knight and stuff. Possibly, yes. I mean, we've still got to fully flesh out the rest of this game. We've got our prototype. But yeah, I can see it being more possibly like level specific. Like you say you get a lightning war cry and you need it to sort of open, like kind of how we open the gate in the demo, where you need to get those 3 war cries, and through that. Right. But I mean, you're thinking sort of a more, I don't know, clever use of it. Like once you got a double jump, you can reach a certain level or something. It remains to be seen, to be honest.
Okay, I really do hope you're gonna have double jump from the freaking beginning, because that's, if there's something that I really like in games, is double jump. Like all games should have double jump. I don't know.
It feels good in this one. I'm really happy with how our jump feels.
Yeah, it's how hard was it to animate? Tell me about that, because whenever I look at characters, well, some obviously 3D stuff, it's a little bit different, but especially with hand drawn, the art is lovely. But at the same time, I'm thinking this must be really hard to properly animate. How was that? How was working on Freya and the monsters too?
Well, look, to be honest, neither of us are the animators, so I don't know if to talk to the process there. We've been working with an external animator. Well, we worked with a couple of animators, but now we've settled on one. I don't know. Romy, do you want to address that?
Well, look, Romy just went to use the loo quickly. I can talk about this last of Yeah, animation is insanely hard. It's been very difficult, and there's a lot of things to learn. So our animator basically came from a sort of a history of animating for movie and film, and obviously a lot of the dynamic and the principles are just completely different in games. So, you do a lot of voodoo magic to try and get into blend, and and there's a lot of trial and error to try and get the animations perfectly synced up. But yeah, it is something that's you get better at it. You do it and you do it again, and you look at it and you say, this is not blending properly, this is not working. And Freya, the concept of Freya is finished, but the animations themselves are definitely going to be improved as we go along. 2 years from now, the text could look completely different to what you see now, and we can implement a whole bunch of new stuff. And I think it's a real challenge for us. That's one of the major challenges: make the character feel good, make it responsive, and make the animations just work. And a lot of weird little things can go wrong, and you're like, well, now what's going on? It just feels slightly off, and it's very difficult to figure out why does something feel just a little bit off. Does she skip a bit? Is she running too fast? Is this animation too slow? Timing, anticipation, stuff like that. So this is something that it's gonna evolve. It's a pre-alpha.
Mm-hmm. Well, since we have you here, can you tell us about the technology behind Freya and the False Prophecy? So you're using Unity, a little bit about the choice and and everything that, and if you have anything custom, any other tools that you use?
So just on the animation and tools, that would be Spine, would be the tool we're using there, which integrates with Unity. So that's like you make a puppet based on the character, and then it's you tween between the animation. I don't know, Lass, do you want to speak about Unity as the base?
Yeah, look, you can ramble. We use a lot of tools. A lot of tools and a lot of other people's code that's been adapted. But look, the main one is just leveraging what's provided for you. Spine provides a really handy SDK or API that you can use, and makes it very easy for you to implement these things. And we use a lot of trusted packages to help with certain things, such as we use Rewired, which is a really good package for input. So, which is really nice. You drop it in, it's really easy to configure, and then boom, it works most of the time, but not always, with most controllers. So there's a couple of, it's hard to identify all the tools. I'd have to open up the project and go through all the tools we use, but some of...
Freya2D would definitely be worth mentioning.
Absolutely.
For our terrain creation and assets, I think Freya's the main one there. It's generating textures and assets. We're using Photoshop. I use Substance Designer for some of my textural stuff. Also using Houdini and toon shed elements there to turn some 3D things into 2D. Whole bunch of particle stuff. And then a lot of
anything custom, anything that you've seen, like we've seen the tools and they don't do what we need them to do, and we have to build our own or customize something.
Yes, basically. Sorry, Frank.
I was going to say everything.
Everything, yeah, I was going to say that as well. There's always problems with people. It's not problems, but a lot of the time they have specific use cases, and they'll say, okay, I'll give you an example. There's actually an excellent developer, his name is Sebastian Legge, and I learned a lot about character controllers and things from him. So he wrote a bunch of stuff, but his character controller doesn't quite work for Freya. So you can't just take his character controller and jam it into the game.
It just works.
You need to think about how he built it and how you can build yours. How you can add the wall climbing and different physics, and how you want it to feel. Like we wanted it to feel buoyant, floaty. A lot of people come back and say, the character feels very floaty, but we wanted it to feel nimble. So there's always like a balance. Do you make a heavy set, like these big Vikings that are kind of trudging around and they feel heavy, whereas with her we wanted it to feel mobile, lithe, athletic, and so that we had to take his, I built upon his work, Sebastian Legge's work, and built my own controller that works a bit differently, but follows a lot of his principles. So that's what's awesome about programming, is you just if you don't look back on what you made a few months ago and think you did a shit job, then you're not learning anything, you know. So we're constantly looking back and revising things and trying to make them better. I could also speak. Sorry if I'm rambling a bit.
No, that's fine. Please.
I could also speak
It's
about
the
the
rambling
enemies, for example.
podcast.
You know, we
Yeah.
we built the enemies. One of the first things we built were the enemies, you know, and they actually have a hell of a lot of limitations. We use a thing called, there's different techniques that you can use, but the AI uses a thing called finite state machines, which at the time I was like, oh wow, this is really awesome. But now I realize that they suck, you know. I don't want to say that something in my game sucks, but I think it's good to know where your weaknesses are. And we want to actually rewrite, one of the first things that I have planned is to rewrite the AI completely for all the enemies, you know, to actually make them more, you know, we want to use behavior trees, which is a different approach. And it's used, you know, it's much more AAA approach, and you can get a better reaction. You know, you'll notice with these enemies is like, honestly, like, we're not that satisfied with the combat. We want to make the combat a hell of a lot better, but this is a process, and, you know, it's important to just, you know, reflect on what is bad, you know, as much as it hurts, and it's a personal thing to be able to say, this is not good, and it needs to change, and combat is definitely something that an AI that we're gonna put a lot of work into to make it a lot better. Cool.
Well, at the same time, you look at these things, and well, I don't. Obviously, it's different when you actually create, but this is early stages. Like you know, you have to give yourself a little bit of leeway to learn and to improve and to be like, you know what? Okay, that was then, and like, you know, it's normal. You know, if someone says something bad, let's say about the movement or, you know, the AI, it's like, it's early days. We know that we're gonna improve, so it's, you know, that's normal. It's a process, right? So it's never going to be, you know, nothing's perfect. How long are you in production? 6 months? 8?
Yeah, probably about 8 months all in all. I mean, we started a year ago, but a lot of it is concept and tooling and creating these tools and things.
Yeah, but it's really just since the last 3 months or so.
Wow, so that's intense. 3 months, like
very intense 3 months.
Look, I mean,
like
I agree,
crunch.
I agree with
we can't say the C word.
Yeah, no one says the C word. No one says the C word, but yes, yeah, basically, yeah. I think, no, I agree with you completely, but I'm just talking about our philosophy, you know, is that sometimes it's very hard when you're running Kickstarter, you know, this is a pre-alpha, but a lot of people see it and they go, well, this is not as good as XYZ, and it's
God of War.
Difficult. Yeah, it's not as good as God of War, your game sucks. And it's like quite frustrating, but also often, even when people say things that in a really mean way, like they'll say, okay, cool, your combat is horrible. And you look at it and you feel a bit sad and it hurts your feelings a little bit. But sometimes they make valid points too. And, you know, that's the hard bit of saying, okay, cool. Just, you know, like, where can we improve? And I think that speaks to our philosophy as a team is like, we want to make the best game we can, you know, and sometimes you have to have your feelings hurt. And in order to realize where your mistakes are, you can't be narrow-minded. So while the combat is sufficient, you know, it's not, and it is a pre-alpha, it's not close to, you know, we want to make it 10 times better, basically. It's going to be a hell of a lot better by the end. And that's something that's hard to share with people, to say this is a pre-alpha, and you put it in big text and you say pre-alpha, and then, you know, people are like, oh, it's not perfect, and there's a few backgrounds that are missing, and it can be a bit frustrating at times, but, you know, it's part of the process, and it's been fun as well, you know.
But I also think it's something like you need to, you know, a lot of games sort of kickstart on their final stage, so when they need to get, like, I don't know, last minute things done and paid for. Whereas we doing it right at the beginning, which is kind of what Kickstarter was built for originally, but it has changed over time. But yeah, it's also been like communicating that, you know, this is a, you know, like you said, it's a pre-alpha prototype of the game that we looking to make, and if you believe in our vision, you know, help us, I guess.
One small note, Lasse, if you want like Polygon to write about Freya. Like I think your best bet would be to tweet out a lot about having your feelings having to be hurt when making stuff, because they'll be like, oh my god, we have to write an article, this is the toxic environment gamers like put on, this is, developers can't work under this stress, so that's gonna be something
at this point.
I mean, I might be the...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry for interrupting.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't want to like offend anyone or make anyone upset, but like even when it comes to crunch, sometimes, I mean, it is a personal opinion, of course, and I don't think people. It's very, very different when it's your own thing, But you go into making indie games with an acceptance that, especially for the first bit, it's going to be really tough, and that's something that we accept, and when I work super late, and it's very hard work, and it's, sometimes it sucks, but it's like, I don't mind working hard. I don't mind crunching for the last thing. It's just, as long as you hit that goal, it's very satisfying. We have to work really hard for this Kickstarter. We made a few mistakes, but we can still pull through. We're going to do it easily, hopefully. Hopefully. So, it's like a double-edged sword, crunch. Working hard and crunch is like a, I guess it's a very divisive topic, internationally, and it's very different if you're working for, some big company and they just make you work 60 hours a day with extra pay to being a hobby.
It is different though, right? Yeah. In that case, it is different, right? When you work for a huge company with a lot of resources, but when you're on your own and this is your passion project, people put a lot of heart and hours and a lot of effort in their passion projects. So, it's not the same thing, right? If your employer asks you to stay over, 4 hours after work every week in order to finish a project, it's different than when you, on your own, by your own accord, decide, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to stay up late, I'm going to do this, it's very different. So, yeah. There's crunch and then there's crunch, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I also think one of the big factors, or something that is hard to deal with, is like your support network it works in a different way. Like I'll give you an example of this troll bug. Where the troll just got stuck. It's like I was like, I saw it and I just thought, damn. But that was caused by, we added some more features because we want to evolve the demo and show people that we can change things and we can make it better and we can listen to feedback. And one of the things I added was animation, these hold frames. And so we don't have the support network that can screen everything, so it makes it difficult. Sometimes it takes a little bit of extra time to get things perfect when you have a small team. You need help from the community. You need people who can find these bugs and say, hey, like your troll's spazzing out, and we can laugh about it and we can fix it. It is difficult, especially now when we're under a lot of pressure. We have the Kickstarter and the demo and all these things happening at the same time. As a small team, to manage all these things is quite chaotic. It's people pulling in all directions and messages and and it's really tricky. And I think in general, supporting indie devs, that's running this Kickstarter, whether it fails or not. It's not. I mean, obviously we need the money. We need the money, of course, but. We've met a lot of people who are passionate about our game too, and who've helped us and who have come back with really good feedback. And this is the kind of thing, this is part of our network. The fans are part of our network. They're involved. They help us solve issues. They help us come up with ideas, and it's actually quite nice. It's really nice to get everyone involved, and that's what we wanted from our Kickstarter. So fail or not fail, it's going to be a big success for us as a team, and we're still proud of ourselves and what we've done.
Okay, first of all, the F word is not used here on this channel.
Which F word? Did I say F word?
That's the fail one.
No, I didn't. No, not fuck. No, okay.
Oh, okay.
So, no, failure. No, that's not going to be the case. You're gonna make it. That's birthing pains. It's gonna.
Confident right now. Hey, it's 70% funded. 9 days to go. Walk in the park, maybe.
Yeah, this is easy.
You know what? If it's gonna be tougher, it's gonna feel a lot better. at the very end. That's for sure. And okay, like, you know, and you've seen other projects, right? There's a lot of in the last 48 hours. There's always a big uptick. Well, maybe not always, but you know, in general, there's an uptick and stuff. So I would, you know, I'm hopeful.
Awesome. We are too.
Yeah, no, we got this.
And
this is easy. This is a walk in the park. I'm not stressed at all. No stress at all. Easy.
No, you know, stress is. I mean, you know, you're making something. If you don't want stress, is like, you know, don't make anything. That's the least stressful thing in the world. Not doing anything. You know, that's for sure. But one thing, lastly, that I wanted to, you know, touch on. You're right, because you have a lot of things on your plate, and it's hard when you're a small team. Regardless of that, I mean, how many updates did you make for the demo since launching the Kickstarter? At least 2, right? 2, 3? At least 2, right? So that's, I mean, I think that
3 updates, eh?
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made quite a few.
3? Okay.
It's actually quite sad in this video because one of the things that we really, I don't know if I just can't hear it, or one of the things we really like about the demo
it's just
is
low.
sound
It's
fun.
the audio is
It's
just
very
low.
low.
The audio is just low,
Yeah,
so we
so
can
if
hear.
anyone
Yeah,
watching-
yeah. Sorry, so we can hear ourselves.
Actually,
Yeah.
You need to play it yourself so that you can hear the music, because that's one of the things we're really proud of as well. It's one of the things that we've nailed. So yeah, well, one of the things I think we've nailed. Other people might think not, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, and if
Yeah,
you want
we-
the whole
we push-
experience, download the demo. Yeah, link in the description.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead,
exactly.
sorry.
The latest version of the demo has excellent voiceover recordings that we want to incorporate in the full game. It's going to be a question of sort of funding and resource. But if you play the latest version, you can hear voiceovers, that's fantastic. The team we're working with, Sound Foundry, did an amazing job. I really chuffed with them.
That's such a cool name, Sound Foundry. See,
Yeah,
it's like some people just have a gift for names. It's amazing.
You don't
But
like
you know
the
what?
name of our
It's good.
company? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, Unsigned Double Collective. Like that's like that's the most vague and vague in the sense that you will never hear this coming from anyone. So that's a great name. If you have a name
again,
that
This is the nerdiest. No, I have to disagree with you. This is the nerdiest, coolest name for nerds. Any nerd that sees this is going to be like, "This is an amazing name." I promise you.
Really?
You
I
wait.
guess I'm
man,
not
you
a
wait.
nerd.
We're gonna
Are
win
you-
some
I-
prizes.
Are you saying that I'm not a nerd? Wow, I feel insulted.
No, I'm saying
You know,
this.
I'm kidding.
There's quite a cool double entendre, I think, with our name. I mean, look, I'm not. You know, you can think our name sucks as well. That's completely fine. But what I like about the name is that it's like quite a cool double entendre, and basically an unsigned double is a positive, and it means it's positive. And it also, a double means two. It's just Romy and I, you know, so we were founders. Sorry, Frank's also very important, but we can't change the unsigned triple. So yeah, so to us it's got quite a cool double meaning, which I really like, but I suppose not a lot of people picked it up on it.
Well, see, I mean, okay, let's be honest though, okay? Unsigned double, okay, it has this, you know, multiple meaning for you. It's very personal, it's not something that anyone would think about. That's what I think. That's, you know, Electronic Arts. Tell me which is the cooler name, Electronic Arts or Unsigned Double? You know what I mean? It's like, if you want simple names, Activision. Wow, that is such a genius name for a company. You know, it's like, I'm not saying that those are bad names, but it's like, you know, don't complain about your name. Your name is awesome. I mean, Epic Games. I mean, you know what? Epic Games are awesome. But they're called Epic Games. And before that, they were called Epic Mega Games. Mega Games. That is the most nerdy 80s to 90s stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's...
Amazing games.
The word mega died with the 90s, right?
Yeah, and that's
pretty
not
much.
bad.
So it's like, yeah. Or it's Blizzard was named what, Bits and Chips or something like crap like that initially. I mean, come on. There's some
bad names.
not so smart names in the industry, and that's, you know, Unsigned Double is cool. So So don't, yeah. Sorry, I just had to say that. Electronic Arts, Jesus Christ. I mean, come on. Activision. Tell me that is that a great name? I mean, it's like it works, you know. Blizzard.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I mean,
you
look,
you
I
looked in the fucking
yeah, I'm
dictionary,
just
yeah,
gonna say
under B.
that it's lame. Yeah. I'm just gonna go out there and say that it's lame. It's probably gonna get into big with Activision. They're gonna come down hard and out of the indie studio. But yeah, I'm gonna put it out there just and be straight up.
Well, the thing with Activision is that they might not be interested, but Sony's gonna come and sign you for, you know, PlayStation 5 as an exclusive. So you'll have, you know, that corporation backing you. So it's gonna be fine, you know. I mean, if not, Activision doesn't support you, it's not the biggest thing, you know.
Look, as long as we have no skeletons in our closet, oh, we gotta
We
make sure
just
this is hidden right at the end of the podcast.
loot boxes to the game.
Yeah. So let's get back into the game a little bit. Well, I think we covered most of the things. Anything that you want to add about anything that wasn't discussed that you really want to get off your chest about the game? You know, you can say about politics. That's fine.
I think you've covered a lot of stuff. Yeah, nothing specifically from my side other than check us out on Kickstarter.
Wait, the shilling is at the end. Come on.
Okay, so look, I'm excited because I was listening to this interview before when everyone was talking about the story, and I was like, oh, this is juicy, man. I wanna reveal some stuff, but I also don't want to reveal some stuff. But
well, reveal everything that would not get you into trouble with Romy.
I will. Look,
Let's say like that.
I am gonna say that the way we built the demo is that we thought to ourselves, okay, cool, what we got to do is, because we wanted to showcase this at Playtopia, first and foremost, is that we need to build a sort of self-contained demo. We didn't want to take, because it's challenging with a story game, you know, you can't just take part of your story. We didn't want to just take part of our game that we built and put it up as a demo, and then everyone sees it, and, you know, it's like, it would be major spoilers, you know, so... The challenge in this demo was that we had to take something, build this little demo, make it self-contained, force in a bunch of mechanics really quickly, create a boss fight, and try and create some kind of narrative so people can see what we were building. But I can say that for the final game, the story is a fair bit darker. Firstly, you know, even the aesthetics are darker. They're going to be a bit darker. And Freya herself. You know, there's a lot of people always use buzzwords like Tale of Redemption and stuff, and we did too. But she suffers. Coming
of age. It's a coming of age story for a young girl. Yeah.
But
struggling with her sexuality. Sorry.
There's a lot of tragedy.
It's not that game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tragedy in the game, which we don't want to reveal, but there will be a lot of tragedy. There's a lot of interplay between her and the NPC characters, you know, like Stigender and Bard, and some of them are going to be humorous, some of them are going to be sad, and you know, we are going to create a set piece, you know, like one of the set pieces that's incredibly memorable for me is Ori and the Blind Forest. You know, there's this water level. Have you played Ori and the Blind Forest?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, so that water level.
I have a live stream. Did you not watch my live stream of Ori and the Dark Forest, or how was the name?
I've got it on my watch list.
Yeah. All right.
But look. So anyway, so we've got the set piece where the water's coming up, and there's an element of intensity, and her and Stighander will feed off one another. In one of the set pieces, which I'll reveal a little bit, is that they are, you know, she'll be working with him. You know, so they'll work together. So he's not just a sort of a character that you bump into and have a little chat and a laugh, and he makes jokes and makes fun of you. We're actually going to incorporate him as an actual element, as a sort of a second player. And he's there, and he might fight with you. Something tragic might happen to him. Who knows? You know, but this is very important to us in the story, is to take these characters and foster this relationship with Freya, so that if on the off chance, not saying that something bad isn't going to happen to him, but if something bad did happen to these characters, that they're relatable and that you have a connection to them, you know, because a lot of games just throw, oh look, something tragic happened, and your friend died, or your baby was kidnapped, or something to that effect, and you don't really have a connection to them. So part of the story will be her unraveling this prophecy, meeting these people, having a connection with them, and I don't think I've revealed too much about the actual story. I think I've been surreptitiously vague, but that's all I wanted to bring to the table with the storyline and with the characters.
Okay, something that we definitely missed and we didn't talk about, and that's we have to. Let's talk about the music, because I've heard the samples, and well, I really like the samples that are on the page, and I encourage anyone who's interested in the game to check those out, to listen to them. They're like 3 minutes. One is like just over a minute. One is 2 minutes 15. They're to me they're lovely. Can you tell me a little bit about the sound, the audio theme? What's going on there?
Yeah, the sound was a significant challenge because. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about composer first. It's a lady called Martinique, and you can actually see some info about her on the Kickstarter page, punting the Kickstarter page again. But she has a very unique style. She has a beautiful voice, and she's quite a strange person. I mean, she's the loveliest person you'd ever meet, but she's quite strange. And when we made this game,
you're telling me an artist is strange?
I mean, she's ridiculously strange even for artists. But she's lovely. She's really one of the best people, and she's quite out there and wacky, and she had never composed music for games before. So our challenge was, one of the tricky things about games is when you compose music for a video or a movie, the timeline is finite. You have this. You have this movie and it's 1 hour long, and at this time this song comes on, and trumpets play and sparrows fart and whatever the case is. But one of our challenges was actually using beat matching. So we don't just transition from one song to another. And this is a system I'm still working on, is to we actually beat match them to say, okay, cool, at this point, the beat matches the next song and we can transition. So although the system's not perfect, I've played it a few times and I encounter some bugs and I go, the music wasn't meant to do that at this point. But it works quite nicely in building this narrative and getting the music to transition smoothly and to create, we're quite proud of the Angry Bird fight scene in the way the music is used to build up intensity, and that's one of the things I'm very proud of we've done so far, is with the music, and also Stig and his animations for when he's talking, but that's such a small thing. I don't know, I just really love them. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. Unless you have more questions. Okay. Otherwise, I can talk forever, man. I'm quite a rambler.
That's kind of the point of these interviews. I don't know how comfortable you are with this, but I like listening to all of this, and hopefully a lot of people will take something out of this and will look at your project and will back it and will see the passion, because I think that's one of the biggest motivators for me to help someone, if for anything, right? If they have passion or they have will to do something, if you see that they are trying to do something worthwhile for them or for society in general, doesn't depending on the thing, you tend to want to help them. That's the thing. So if Peter Molyneux comes with another Kickstarter, I'll be like, oh, Peter Molyneux came out with another Kickstarter, Glodus too, yay, we're gonna make fun and shit. But if you three come in, right, and it's like, well, we've been working on this, and it's just us, and we've been we're really passionate about this, and we're building it like that, and we have these ideas, and you can feel the kind of excitement, then I think people are more likely to respond to that. That's what I think. So ramble away. That's the idea. If you have the time, ramble away. Tell me a little bit about the difference, the world difference when it comes to the music. Will each world have its own theme?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
I would say yes.
Look, we're actually experimenting, because I've told you about this beat matching process that we have. But we're actually coming up with some other ideas as well after composing the first songs. It's like, every song, there's going to be different variations. So we're dividing them into mood, so firstly, all the songs are divided by mood. What mood do you want to convey to the player? Like, is it suspenseful, or is it tense? Is it calm? Is it post-battle? Is it like, do we need to instill a sense of... So a lot of it is emotive. What do we want to instill in the player? They want to be... you've got a time trial and you have to get to Stiganda and save him before he dies. Not that would be in the story. It might be. Who knows?
Spoiler.
But spoiler, whoops. But, so now you have this music that's backing you, that's pushing you, that's saying, go harder, go faster. So that's on on the scene-by-scene basis on what's happening in the game. But that also translates into the environments, there's fire in the background. Like, how do we get this music to sound fiery? How do we get it to feel hot? It's obviously, these are things that are not that easy conceptually because, they don't just make sense. But that's the goal, to say, this is the area, what is the emotion, what's the correlation with the environment. So a lot of work is going to be done in the music over the next 2 years to really get it to feel good and to feel alive and to put you in the right space, the right atmosphere.
Sorry, just on that.
Yeah.
A bit of a side note, but I don't know if you've played Gris at all. I mean, I've been playing it recently, and the way they mix music with gameplay is something absolutely special. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to do what they do exactly, but definitely worth checking out. And it's a beautiful game. Beautiful game.
It's like, I don't have time for all these games. I'm kidding. It's like... No, there are other people... Sorry, I don't know who mentioned God of War initially, but I was like... Yeah, God of War. Yeah, I don't really play AAA titles and stuff because it's not like there's so many other games that I've covered, and it's like, yeah, I don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah, it's anyway. Story of a smaller YouTuber, I guess. So let's talk a little bit about the release plans. What do you have in mind in terms of platforms? Timeline. When's it coming to the PlayStation 5?
Well, so I mean, basically on our Kickstarter, we've said 2022, so we've given a 3-year plan then. Internally, we're looking at 2 years. That's the sort of amount of time we want to give ourselves, but we thought we'd rather err on the case of say that the game would be later and put more time and effort into it than say it would be earlier and not deliver something that matches our vision. In terms of platform...
So you're not going for the Chris Roberts tactic?
No, we're not going for the Chris Roberts tactic.
I mean, you could actually get like another 40 million in investment right now. Sorry.
I think he did just yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. That's why. Yeah.
But in terms of platform, we've had a huge response that wants it on the Switch, and I mean, I think these kind of games seem to be doing incredibly well on the Switch. I mean, you look at Hollow Knight, you look at Dead Cells, you look at Celeste. So I mean, and our first stretch goal is the Switch, but we want to make it happen. Like, we're hoping that it reaches that stretch goal. If it doesn't, we're still quite keen to look at the Switch. I mean, it's just a great platform, and I think that the game would be good on it. On the PC storefront side, it's quite interesting because, I mean, there's such a shake-up happening in the world at the moment. We'll see what it looks like in 2 years, but it'll probably be Valve. Yeah. It'll probably be Steam, and it'll probably be Epic if we can get on there, and Discord and GOG. Yeah, that remains to be seen. And then also things like, we have been asked about Linux and Mac. That also depends on resources and, yeah, basically resources and interest, as well as Xbox and PlayStation would also be great to get onto. Again, it comes down to resources and interest, I guess. Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, have you been maybe considering talking to publishers to maybe help fund, for other platforms? I mean, not for PC.
Yeah. No, look, for the game itself, the Kickstarter target doesn't fund us to create this game full time. I mean, we all, like, most of us we work in contract work. The game up until this point is self-funded. So, I mean, the Kickstarter, while it will inject sort of a base amount of funds and cover things like music and sound and some of the development. What it does more than that is it's created an audience and a community, and basically it's a proof of concept, proof of the interest in the product. But after the Kickstarter is done, we are definitely looking at contacting publishers and seeing where that road can take us.
Mm-hmm. So that's why you want to be on Activision's good side. Got it. Yeah. That's a pretty safe bet. You're right.
It's you have to be flexible on these things. I mean,
yeah. Okay.
Like Frank mentioned.
Oh, well, that's
is that this money doesn't cover. If you knew anything about games, right, and you saw a game and said, okay, cool, 2 years, 300,000 rand, dollars, $20,000 or whatever it is, and you did the math, you say, well, that doesn't pay for a game, definitely not. But I'm happy. I'll be completely transparent about how to finance a game. We can go into that in depth as well. But suffice to say, this Kickstarter really helps with our deficit. So we work. I'm a freelancer. Romy's a freelancer. Frank is working. So what we do is we're sort of on 1 month, off 1 month. But every month we have a loss. So the Kickstarter really helps to just trim this loss, and we can continue working and in this basis. In an ideal world, we would say, okay, cool, we need $200,000, but you need to be realistic and practical as well. Like, you can't, you're never going to get that. A small company, we don't have a lot of reach. We're not hugely established, and it would be silly and naive to ask for that much money. So yeah, I don't know, maybe that diverged from platforms a little bit, but that's basically kind of how the funding goes. And if we have to look at a publisher later, we'll be open to it. I mean, it would be nice to keep it independent as well. That has a lot of benefits too. But for people without a lot of money, for us and a lot of other developers, it's a hustle. You have to adapt and hustle and just take it as it comes. And if a publisher comes up and says, look, we're going to let you stick to your vision, and we're going to give you flexibility, and we're going to assist you, and we feel like this is a good deal and good for our players as well and our backers, then we would definitely go for it. But that remains to be seen, and we could only answer that properly later on.
I can't believe you use the word hustle. Like, that's... You don't hear that word anymore.
Oh, sorry, I'm not...
No, but...
No,
but literally...
Indie development is definitely a hustle.
I can't believe you used the word again. Come on, Jesus. This is like a safe environment here. Seriously, you can't hear that word anywhere except probably rappers in the United States. That's it.
It's interesting.
It's true, but...
When I use the word, I'm talking sort of about grit and perseverance and sort of pushing your work out there. I mean, I'm not using the word as sort of a rapper,
I don't mean we're
the thing is,
people. We're just trying to.
No, but that's.
Adapt,
I think they use it in the same idea. That's the whole thing. The word hustle is not a bad word. It's just it's something that people don't use for some reason, because I don't know, but it's a great word actually. It's about going and trying to do something and working towards something. So the hustle, it's not a bad word. So anyway, I like that someone used it. That's good. That's it's so refreshing. So refreshing to hear that word.
It's interesting that you bring it up, because actually at Playtopia there's another South African developer, Nyamakop. They made this game Semblance. I don't know if you've played it. It was quite big on
I've heard of it. I didn't play it. Yeah, I've heard of it, but I didn't play it. Yeah.
Anyway, they're from Joburg. Anyway, they gave a presentation at this indie festival, and the name of the presentation was how to hustle as an indie developer, and it was all about the word hustle and how you need to sort of embrace it, especially as an indie developer coming from Africa, where there's not as big of a game creator hub or an industry or whatever. You actually have to make the opportunities for yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, decolonize the word hustle. Come on, people.
You know.
I'm kidding. Yeah, no, but that's true. Especially exactly South Africa. How many developers from South Africa can you name? That doesn't mean that there is not a lot of talent there. It's just, and it's hard, right? How do you make connections as a up and coming developer in a country that's not known for its industry, or it doesn't have many like big players, or like an organization for specifically for game developers. It's really tough to do that.
Yeah,
like the fact that you were able to go to an event where you could showcase your game, that's huge, and a lot of developers don't have that opportunity. And it's great that more and more countries and societies are opening up to being accommodating to independent game developers, because you see a lot of talent. It's crazy. Mexico, South America, Argentina, it's like crazy. Spain, there's so much talent in Spain. It's unbelievable how many awesome games are being made there. But it's hard to get that voice out. So yeah, you're right. It's
Do you want to go?
That's why we rely on people like you.
yeah, I just need 68 million more subscribers. So if anyone wants to subscribe, we can take down, well, T-Series, not PewDiePie. PewDiePie, I'm fine if he has more subscribers than me, but T-Series, no. So subscribe.
I also wanted to touch about. I mean, look, we try not to make it about how difficult it is to make a games library. It is a factor. I mean, there are issues here. Small things that add up. But one of the things that a lot of people, I don't want to talk about privilege and all these things, but you must remember, I mean, we're in a fortunate position. Well, semi-fortunate. I mean, a lot of people from Africa or South Africa, if they decide to make a game now, the inherent challenge is that for the first 3 years, you're kind of on your own, buddy. It's like, here's your thing, and you have to prove yourself. So, if you watch Indie Game the movie, and I'm not taking anything away from these guys, a lot of them, had parents who took care of them, and they could stay in grandma's basement for 4 years. But a lot of developers in Africa don't have that opportunity. Like for them, the chances of going destitute. So do you take this risk? Do you quit your job and you have no support network to fall back onto? It's like no one's going to take care of you. There's no free medical aid. There's no places for people to nurture you firstly as a support thing. There's very few places. And if it fails, the ramifications of that is very high. If I fail, luckily I'm quite privileged. If I fail, I can go get another job or whatever the case is. But I think a huge part of the burden is like this risk factor. And I think people in Western societies, although to make an indie game is tough for anyone, I think the problems are amplified here tenfold. A lot of guys just can't. It's not safe, and our economies are not strong. We have weak currencies. It adds another layer, another layer of difficulty onto the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's the word privilege is a little bit like a lot of misuse right now. It's not a bad thing, right? It's just normal. There are different societies with different possibilities. I was born in Romania. I didn't have the same opportunities as someone who was born in a middle of the pack family in Toronto, for example. That's the situation. You just deal with the cards that you have. But for people who see those things, who see those people who come out of places that are really difficult to make something for yourself, especially something independent on your own, right? It's great that you can get your word out on Kickstarter and people can support you, and that's
why something like Kickstarter is, it's really great that we can leverage something like that, Kickstarter 2012, 2013 was a very different thing, but
sure.
10, 15 years ago, you couldn't do this, and you didn't have the tools available. There was no Unity, Unreal, or whatever. We definitely live in a very interesting time, and there's a lot of factors that go into like us being able to actually do something like this. I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah, look,
I mean, it's always been
ideally-
hard. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No,
Sorry,
go
go
on,
ahead.
go on. Please. No, you go ahead.
No, I was thinking that it's always been hard to do, especially something independent on your own, right? But as more tools become available, more like you said, right? Times change, attitudes change. It's easier, but that's not everywhere, right? That's not that hasn't spread out throughout the world, and I think a lot of people don't really think about there are different societies out there with people who think differently, who have other priorities. Like you said, like in a really poor country, right? South Africa, let's say, with all the problems they have. I don't say that I know the problems or anything like that, but obviously it's tougher in South Africa than it's in the Netherlands, for example. Just an example, right? I mean, how many people in South Africa with talent did not get to even try to make something of that talent just because they didn't have the opportunity? And that's sad. That's sad because that's what you want. Exactly. That's what you want. You want to support, and you couldn't. But with Kickstarter right now and other stuff, other systems, you can. You could go to those people who have talent, but their cards aren't that great because of location, because of financials, family, health problems, anything like that, and you can support them. And to me that's great because there's way too much talent in this world, and you don't want to get wasted because everyone benefits from people with drive and talent doing their thing in any field, not only games.
Well, look, I mean, the problem, if you go back to the privilege thing, it is very misused. It's not bad to have privilege. You were born like that. It's not your fault. And ideally, in an ideal world, you'd want everyone to be on the same level playing field, and have the same chances.
Yeah.
But I mean, to give you an idea of even the challenges, I mean, not for us per se, but like if someone else, let's say a little team came together in South Africa, the likelihood is they've never made a game before. Let's say a lot of them would be first timers. A lot of them maybe didn't go to the best school, and they might be insanely talented. But now they're forced to compete in an international stage where they were put, they just never had the same. Forget drive, forget talent, forget enthusiasm. They never had the same background. They never had the same nurturing. They don't have the same support network. And that's, I think, where the international community needs to step up. I mean, there's a group of guys in Botswana who are building a game, and it looks terrible, but that's not the point. Support them, let them get their first game out, let them get a living, make a living and learn and get experience, because that then creates support network for more developers. Now you get more guys who can speak to these guys and say, hey, you guys started, and they can say, hey, and they can have a chuckle and say, our game was really terrible, our first one, but now we made 5 more games, and now we internationally respected. But that's a very hard bit, is to say, okay, cool, take these developers, and I'm not talking about us, but take a team, give them disadvantages, and expect them to compete on a world stage like on Kickstarter is very, very tough. And that's why you don't see, you do see South Africans, but the predominant of them are very privileged. They're not in a bad way, like we discussed before, but they can compete internationally. They're in a position where they can, whereas a lot of guys can't, and those are the guys that need to be accepted and supported by the community through this transition phase. Starting is tough. The first game is very tough. The second one, hopefully, I hope it'll be a lot easier, but experience is invaluable, and a lot of these guys can't get the experience. They just don't have the chance.
Yeah, I bet we would have like a huge discussion about that, support in general. No, but it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's very true, because it's there's a lot of tokenism and crap, and it's like it's hard to find the people who have the drive and have the talent, and it's like, oh, we brought these people from this very poor country and we're showcasing their game. Look how cool we are. you know,
Yeah.
and that's a bad attitude if you actually want to bring people up. Like me, I don't care, right? I don't care in terms of like where you are. If the game is good or it has potential, let's see it. Let's get the word out. If I can, you know, I don't have like a huge audience, but hopefully it's gonna grow. And it's like, look at this game, like look at this. This is super awesome, and it's like this small jam game made in a week. And look how much, you know, this team has, because you see amazing games that are not supported or don't get, not even visibility, you know, like, because financials will maybe come later, but if there's no visibility, there's nothing there. It's like, there's no chance for financial support if there's no visibility, if no one knows that you are actually making something, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, stuff with Kickstarter.
It's kind of, you know, I mean, how many games get released a day on Steam? It's something ridiculous. They're like
40,
yeah.
What are you
So there's
Okay, to be fair, a lot of there are some that are crap. That's for sure, right? And you can and you see them, But the thing is, I don't think this market is like. There's this group and like half of all the players play freaking Fortnite, and then the people who would look at Freya and the False Prophecy are like 1%. No, I think there are a lot more people who would love to play Freya and the False Prophecy and would like to, they don't even know about it. How many big sites, YouTubers, or yeah? Sorry.
No, that's also the challenge, eh? And I mean, like your mainstream media doesn't really cover Kickstarters. I mean, doesn't really cover indies even, and then you got like Kickstarters, which are even sort of lesser than indies. That's tricky, but you know, you push, you get the word out, you try and tell your friends, hopefully they tell their friends, and see what happens.
Yeah, you hustle, and then you hopefully. I mean, I don't want to name names of sites and stuff, but it's true, they have a lot of reach. I don't know why, because they don't really cover games much. You know who you are.
It's also their
sites.
Their audience has a certain expectation as well. I think if you Polygon whatever and you put out a thing, I don't know, it's tricky. Yeah, it's very tricky.
Yeah, you don't want to, because maybe you want to be there.
Behind them.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care about being there, but it's true. A site like that. Like how often does it write about indie games? They have like the crappiest topics, and I'm like, here, like, what are you doing? Why are you writing about how many Asian babies are being killed in X game when you could just cover 10 other awesome indie games that have just come out? You know, stuff like that. It's like, come on, like, write about games. You know, that really bothers me. The fact that there's so much of the people who have the eyes, right? They have eyes on them. Focus on crap and on like clickbait. Like, look at Freya. Play Freya. Show people Freya. This could be cool. You know. How about we don't give a crap about, you know, what how many women are being tortured in the Last of Us 2 trailer? I don't give a crap. It's a violent game. Who gives a shit? And, like, the world is violent, you know. It's like, oh my god, you know, like, what do chromosomes have to do with it? You know, write less about that. Write more about games that are actually being made. You know, like Freya. No, so, yeah. Anyway, that's my rant for the day.
No, I'm
all right.
with you as well.
Yeah.
I really think that visibility is different, and it all just comes down to consumerism. I mean, you know, it's like this is obviously like a very heavy topic to go into, but if you even look at Kickstarter themselves, their algorithms, you know, they're a company. You know, you see Kickstarter and their vision. You know, I shouldn't be saying things about Kickstarter while I'm running a Kickstarter, but hopefully, hopefully they won't find out. But you know. Their interest is not to promote small games. I mean, their propaganda machine, or you know, they say, okay, cool, yeah, it's an amazing platform, and while it is an amazing platform, the inherent they care about the bottom line. So even the visibility of our game, and I've raised this with them, where they do very surreptitious things, and it's guised as a bug. You know, like you'll click on video games and shitloads of board games will come up. So I messaged them. I said, look, why are all these board games coming up when you've explicitly stated that you want to see computer games? And they aren't denied, and then they fix. But that's the nature of the problem. It's like if you write about Fortnite, you get more readers, you know, and if you put your tabletop games, your big sellers, you make more money. So, you know, unfortunately, these things are just not going to change anytime soon, and you know that is a challenge. You've got to be out there spamming, and half of Reddit says don't self-promote, and you're trying to circumnavigate all these things and trying to get your game visible. But the system, in a way, doesn't really, you know, especially for smaller players, it doesn't work with you all the time. You know, you really need to hustle. Again, I say the word. You need to hustle even to get visibility on your own project. Things like this really help. You know, maybe we look and we see 7 viewers, but that's not what's important. You know, important is that like people, there are these places where you can, you know, maybe we'll get 10,000 views.
You know what?
Viral, who knows?
You know what? I fucking try. Every I'm not complaining or anything like that, but it's every day I try games that, you know, not a lot of people play, and I made it a thing to because that's I want to find new stuff. That's one of the things that drive me. And when I was writing, because previously I was writing about games, about technology, the thing that drives me is seeing that people are creating new things. That's fantastic. That makes you want to live. At least me, gives me one of the reasons to live. So I like, you know, checking out, what's new, right? And if you, when I see other sites like, this is the 15th Cyberpunk 2077 article that they've written in the last month. It's like, okay, there are a lot of people interested in it, but god damn it, there's so many other games. Look at other games. It's like, don't make it indie of the week, like indie showcase, and make it one week or one day a week, right? Or make one single thing. Just talk about all the freaking games that are coming out, that are being released, that are being developed. So it's you know, I think it's going to get better as more people have bigger power to reach others, you know, with social media and all that. I think that helps a lot. So I think it's easier now than it was 15 years ago. Like 15 years ago, if you didn't have a publisher, you wouldn't have your game made, probably. That's it.
Totally. No, I hear you, man. Christian, do you mind if I wind this down? Just need to...
Yeah, because... Yeah, sure, because it's been 2 hours already. A quick thing. Well, I could stay for another. Well, I do want to have pancakes. So wait, I'm not gonna have pancakes today. Never mind. It's fine. It's okay. You're worth it. It's good. I gave up pancakes for this interview. I'm kidding. That's, you know, I like doing this. So thank you for that, for the opportunity. Now, quick. What do you like playing? Anything you're looking forward to? And then closing thoughts.
Okay. Currently, Gris. I mean, I can't rave about this game enough. It is so fantastic. Yeah, Gris. Wow, it's too good.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah.
Romy?
What
are you playing?
Rimworld. I love Rimworld. I think it's the best little game. This guy's a genius.
Okay.
But I've got some other games that, man, you know how it is. It's kind of weird, you know. You make games and you don't play games. Yeah, you just don't have time. And often, you know, what happens is you'll sit in front of the computer the whole day, and all I want to do is take my dog for a walk. You know, so. But there is quite a backlog of games that I wanna finish. And Childs of Light, I started playing it, and often I'd start playing, and then we have a nice sesh where Romy and I, you know, get out our controllers and set up the couch and play together. You know, we're playing Divinity Original Sin together. That's also really enjoyable. But finishing the games is a challenge, I think, these days. It's been quite difficult. But yeah, that's about it with my games. But yeah, Rimworld, it's great. You switch it on. That's a great little game. Have you played it before?
No, I don't think I played that one. No. You should see the channel. Like pretty much everything that's there. That's what I play. It's like not so many like known titles. So it's kind of a thing that I do. It's. But I do want to point out.
You just play. You just like if a lot of these games are demos and a lot of them are in it, but you actually play them through and finish them. and complete them?
I don't really have time to finish much. I really don't have time. I mean, if I actually stayed to finish something, that literally would take time from testing out and maybe making new videos, and I can't really afford that financially or in other way. So I haven't finished the game, and well, I think I finished on stream maybe something a month ago, but because the game was shorter and I did manage to finish it. But other than that, I don't have the time for that no more. No, I don't have the time like when I played Zeus Master of Olympus for 20 hours straight. That's not me anymore. I don't have that time. Those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days. We can only reminisce, eh? We can only reminisce.
You know what? I wouldn't go back. Well, if I would go back, I would just go back to do a few things differently. But seriously,
I just want the time. No, I don't care about going back.
Oh, the time.
The
time.
As much time as possible
Yeah.
to just. There's so many things to do in life, you know. Like you're gonna travel and play games, whatever, and you just, you know, before you know it, like these things, your time just evaporates. But that doesn't mean what you're doing is not worth it. You know, like making a game is tough. Anyone ever gets to this point in the podcast and they like feel inspired. Yeah, it's awesome. It feels great. It's amazing. It's so satisfying, but it's also hard. It's stressful, and you know, it's like it's a good thing. It's like it's character building. Builds your character. Toughens you up a little bit to criticism as well.
Well, that's good. I mean, you know, it's you can't have safe words, you know, in life. I mean, I guess. Never mind. That's another whole topic. Okay, so for anyone who's interested in the project, there's a link in the description below to the Kickstarter page. Can you tell us where people can find you, like on social media, anything like that?
Yeah. So basically, if they're interested in the game, obviously the Kickstarter now, go there. That's got all the information, videos, trailers, everything. Also, our website, you can sign up for our mailing list. That's thefreyagame.com. And then Twitter and Instagram, we at the Freya Game. And we also have a Discord channel. The link's on the Kickstarter. But yeah, basically the best place to find out about us right now is the Kickstarter. It's got everything, and we've got 9 days left. We're at 70%. If you can help us, contributions would be great. Otherwise, sharing the campaign would be fantastic.
Yeah, and the cheapest pledge that would get you a copy is around $15. So it's, you know, pretty standard. It's not a high price at all. If you want beta access, that's what, 60 Canadian dollars, about 44 US dollars. So that's pretty cool if you want to, you know, play it earlier, if you want to maybe give some feedback earlier, and you just, you know, want to be cool and you know, have access to something that not many people have access to.
There's also a reward for $800, which no, I'm joking. There is a reward for $800.
What? No,
but look, if you want it for $800, that's cool as well.
Yeah, be a character in our game. Come
on, that would be cool.
And otherwise, you got a whole bunch of physical rewards as well. Yeah, look, there's a bunch there. Go through it, see what suits you. But I mean, look, even if you just want to throw in $1, that would make us very happy. You know, it's another backer. It's a show of support, and it's it'd be fantastic.
That actually means a lot. Actually, $1 is great. I like $1 pledges because it says, "Hey, I don't have a lot of money, but I think your idea is cool," and that's kind of, look, it's not better than a big pledge, obviously, but it's really cool. You know, $1's cool.
You know, anything helps, but you know, if you want to actually play the game, you know the pledges. That's for sure. So, well, I guess we're gonna wind up here because I'm gonna defeat this. I guess she's a witch. Kind of a witch. She's kind of a witch, right?
She's a boss. The giantess and a witch and the countess.
Yeah.
And the mother of monsters.
She's just a bitter fool. Yeah, well, she's just jealous because I look better.
Yeah, she's a bit mean.
Well, I guess, you know, that's why she doesn't have any children. She's old. That's what happens, kids. You know, just.
Maybe we should have made Skull a big cat. You had a bunch of cats. Which is sort of a cat lady.
Oh, jeez. Oh, she's definitely a cat lady. She's definitely a cat lady. Because that's,
she's
you
more
know,
of a bat.
you know, well, yeah, you know, cats are amazing creatures, but god damn it if they don't say something that's not necessarily great. It's like if you want an animal around you, you want a dog. That's for sure. You know, I mean, at least she has a wolf. You know, so that's, I guess she's redeemable to some extent. If she had a cat, she would not be redeemable at all. Sorry, I'm sorry, people who have cats. It's just you've made the lesser choice when it comes to pets. Well, we're political here. I mean, come on.
All right, cool.
Okay, so
I feel like
everyone.
we can just keep circle jerking, man. We gotta just be like, okay, cool.
Now we're finishing up. So everyone, check out the campaign. There's a link in the description below. And you know, again, anything helps. At least $15 will get you a copy. If everything goes well, you know, and you're gonna be in the 2020, you know, you're gonna survive Trump. There's gonna be a different president. You're gonna play Freya and the False Prophecy, so that should be pretty cool. New president, new game. That's awesome. So check it out again. Freya and the False Prophecy from Unsigned Double. Thanks so much, you know, for coming here, everyone. Romy, Frank, Lasse, and well, for everyone watching, as always, if you can support, subscribe, tell other people about the channel. See the description, all the crap that you can support me through, which are basically just two things. They cost you nothing, so I'd rather, you know, you check out the project, invest there, and you know, if you buy something occasionally on the Humble store, maybe use my link and you help me out to survive and do many interviews like this. Thanks again, everyone, and what can we say? Have an awesome weekend.
Cool, man. Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Bye.
Cheers.
Oh, Romy wants to say goodbye. Okay, no, she says goodbye. All right. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.